and it seems like you don't care. It kind of feels like you don't want us to like or to play the game. You know, it feels like you want the game to die and just everybody move on to Honkai Star Rail. Oh boy, here we go. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know what's going on with Genshin Impact right now. And basically, there is a lot of tension between the player base and its developer Hoyoverse. People are frustrated, very, very frustrated, and I think rightfully so. So today I'm going to give you what I think is a reasonable and relatable take on the situation. We'll see how far and how long that lasts. So to start off and to talk about what exactly is wrong, well, to go back about a week ago, Genshin Impact did have its 4.4 developer live stream where they talk about the new update, and they announced the update rewards for the Lantern Rite. And in a nutshell, they are kind of shit, as they kind of have been for a while. I won't pretend that we're not getting any rewards. We are getting a free 4-star, which is kind of cool. I mean, they're only leeway 4 stars. I think this would be a lot cooler if we had our choice of anyone. They are giving us a free 10 pull, which is nice, but they also kind of threw in there, they wanted to say thank you for commemorating another year with us. And to do that, they are going to give out 3 pulls, which a lot of people are frustrated with, myself included. Whenever you think about it, 3 pulls isn't shit in this game. It's not. I mean, considering that it can take up to 140 to 150, 160 pulls to get something that you actually want, you know, even 3 or 13 pulls, it's just really not a substantial amount. So for something as big as the Lantern Rite, it comes off as really out of touch and disrespectful. But to egg this on even more, Honkai Star Rail, a game literally made by the same developer, they are giving more rewards for the same exact thing. So in Star Rail, players are actually getting 20 pulls, and also the game has kind of traditionally given better rewards than we've ever gotten, you know, in Genshin. Just even this current patch, like Honkai Star Rail has given away a free limited 5-star Dr. Ratio, who is actually a really good character, you know, for anyone who's actually tried him out. And so whenever you compare him to someone like Aloy, who Genshin gave away for free, you know, Aloy, she kind of fucking sucks, dude. Like, she does, and I'm sorry if you like her, but she's not good, and her kid is very frustrating and hard to use sometimes, you know. And also considering that she's another company's like IP, I don't think that Genshin could ever potentially give her away for free at all anyway. Star Rail also does things like giving out a free 10 pull every patch. They've added things like having their beginner banner like guarantee you to get a 5-star character. There's also a 5-star selector on the standard banner. So like when you think about all these things, the rewards in Honkai Star Rail, they're so much better than the ones you get in Genshin. So I can totally see why people are upset and frustrated. Genshin players have gone, specifically a lot of Genshin CN players, which fucking thank God, because sometimes it feels like those are the only players that Hoyo cares about. But they've gone to the extent of like review bombing some of their apps. They're unfollowing, you know, Genshin Impact on social media. And this is like to the extent of millions of people are doing this. I don't know what else they're supposed to do, you know, to voice their concerns outside of like not spending money in the game, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But the big thing here is whether we're comparing it to Star Rail or not, the player base is frustrated. They're frustrated. They feel disrespected. They feel like they're not being shown the proper appreciation that they should, which I totally vibe with. But I think I know what the average person is thinking or feeling right now. And it's that we kind of changed the fortune of your company. And I want you to give me a second to explain what I mean by that. But I think everyone kind of remembers, this article is a little bit old, but there was an article that Genshin made $1 billion in the first year of the company of Genshin Impact. Do you know what that kind of money does for a company? You know, like, and I can't speak to exactly what the financials were for Hoyoverse before Genshin Impact, but I can sure as hell say after Genshin and after receiving that kind of money, that money has afforded Hoyoverse so many opportunities to grow their company into like almost a AAA developer now. Like, they've been able to make Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, and I feel like there's another game I can't think of right now. But like, that's the problem here. It's, we've given you billions of dollars, you know, as a community, and we're cool with it, and we accept that, and we accept that this is a gacha game, and there's like, it's heavily monetized, and you've got to get what you want, you got to risk it a little bit. That's fine. That's not the problem here. The problem is that we've done it, and now when it's your turn to give back, you're gonna be stingy with us. You're gonna give me 3 or 13 polls after $1 to $2 billion, because the game's been out for a couple years now. And so I'm just thinking, like, motherfucker, you should be giving me 10 to 20 polls each patch. Like, like for real. It shouldn't take us to come to this frustration and unfollowing and review bombing multiple times to, you know, to get the proper appreciation. You know, that's what I think most players feel like. That's what I feel like. You know, I'm someone, and this isn't just about me. This is about the entire player base. But I put a lot of fucking money in this game, bro. Like, okay, here. Like, just to fucking show you. Like, okay, here we go. That literally came out this patch. Literally wished for that. Okay, okay, okay. If you knew what I went through to get this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can just keep going. We can keep going. You know, it's frustrating. And this isn't just frustrating for the whales, and it isn't about me. This is about, like, the players just like, bro, we've given you so much, and we have changed the trajectory of your company. Why are you being stingy with us? You know what I mean? So that kind of leaves us at a big point. What now? What happens now? Hoyoverse, it is time to cut the bullshit and to take care of the people that have taken care of you. All of this shit is completely unnecessary. You know, had you just done what you were supposed to do this entire time, we would not be in this situation, you know, and all you're doing by pushing the line and trying to give the minimum amount of rewards is creating animosity and pushing your player base away. And that stuff sticks with people long after you make the changes and decide to do the right thing in the end. You can't just keep consistently trying to give as little as you can, and then you fix it after people get mad. People are gonna give up on you after long enough. And I don't recommend fucking trying to find out how far you can go. So here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you what I think that you should do as the developer Hoyoverse. And then I'm also going to tell you what I think that you should do as a player of Genshin Impact. Now, listen, you don't have to listen to me, and I don't know everything, right? I'm just a streamer trying to give my honest opinion and hope that it makes some type of good change. Okay, as the developer, you need to increase your rewards in general, and especially for these big type of occasions like the Lantern Rite and like the anniversary. I personally think during the Lantern Rite, giving out 20 pulls per banner, right? So we're talking 40 pulls total. If you want to give 30, I can live with it, but I really think that you should do 40. It would inspire so much goodwill with your community that you would receive so much more back in return. I think what's going on here is that you feel like if you give away too many rewards, that you're missing out on people buying that stuff. And what I'm trying to tell you is that I don't think that's how that goes down. I think if people don't have any hope of getting anything, they either they don't wish or they don't spend in the first place. And I think if people had those extra pulls to either get close to something they want or to actually get it, then they would play the game more often, and that would give them more opportunities to spend money. And I think you enticing that, you know, this isn't just about that. This isn't just about you making as much money as you can. This is about the appreciation towards the players, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that you wouldn't benefit from this. And I think on top of that, do not underestimate the power of having a positive, good association with your game from your players. And I'm going to give you an example of this. I'm going to give you a tiny example in my own way. So we're going to go back like 10, 12 years ago. This was on Black Friday. I went to a Best Buy to buy multiple of the 3-packs, or not 3-packs. I bought 3 months of Xbox Live Gold so that I could just essentially save them and use them whenever it was the time. 6 months later, it's time for me to use the third one, and the third one doesn't work, right? Go figure. How did this happen to me? And so I spent a couple days emailing and on the phone with Microsoft support. And you know what they told me? They told me to go fuck myself, right? And then, like, not really. They said that I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. We can't help you, which in my language means go fuck yourself. But like from that moment on, I just, and let's go ahead and fast forward 5 years later. I now have a PlayStation. And every time PlayStation goes down for a day, you get a message in your little inbox or inventory. And you know what that message says? It says, sorry for the inconvenience of PlayStation Network being down for 12 seconds yesterday. We have extended your PlayStation Plus subscription by 1 day. You know how much that matters? You know how much does that cost? Like 20 cents? But by them doing that, by them showing the little tiny respect over this tiny period of time, I will never buy a fucking Xbox again. Ever, dude. Fuck them motherfuckers, dude. No, but in like all seriousness, they have earned my loyalty through the tiny little bits of respect that they don't have to, but that they choose to do. It makes all the difference. And this is the opportunity that you are missing out on in your own game with your own people, dude. I just bro, I think the same thing goes for like the anniversary. I think that you should give out 20 polls and you should give out a free 5-star selector and let people be happy about getting that one character they've wanted forever. I've got a girl who watches my stream that bro, okay, listen, I'm sorry for doxing you. Where are you at? Nope. I'm sorry I did this to you. Day 500 days of trying to get Tainari. Do you know how much happier this girl would be if you would give her a free freaking Tainari? And so it's just bro, it's so simple. You earning the goodwill of just giving players what they want, just a little bit, just a little bit, not everything. You don't have to give a free 5-star every patch, but by giving a free standard banner character that people would really appreciate, people would stick with your game and they would recommend your game to other people and they would feel better about spending money on your game. Some people vehemently refuse to spend money out of spite for what's going on here, for some of the things that you've done. It's just crazy, man. And so I think, out of respect for the money that you've made, I feel like it's the least that you can do. And then one last thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but it's something that has been on my mind and that's been on everyone's mind for a while now, is that I do think that you need to start pumping out replayable content, fun, combat-based replayable content. Your game is one of the funnest games I've ever played. Seriously, it's one of my favorite games of all time, right? It's why I'm a content creator about it. I just find it so much fun getting my team of 4 and getting it all set up for this big moment and it paying off against enemies is just so satisfying. But the only place we have an outlet for that is the Abyss. And let's be honest, the Abyss is made for certain enemy team or for certain team comps, often the current banner character, and then it gets stale after a while. People want an outlet to experience this beautiful game and combat that you've designed, that we spend all this time and money for, farming artifacts and pulling for constellations and saving for characters to play the game. Something like a never-ending Abyss, or even something like the Labyrinth Warriors event, which you have not brought back since, but conveniently have put in Honkai Star Rail. I just don't get it, bro. And I would spend all day, every day in it if we had it as a permanent game mode. And mind you, this is not about the rewards. This is about a place to spend our time in the game. A place that players feel like are very overdue, that add to this feeling of dissatisfaction. But in this current state of the game, after a certain point, I don't understand the value of pulling other characters, because there comes to a point where you can defeat anything in the game. You can 36 star the Abyss every time. There's just no outlet to like consistently keep this thing going. And it seems like you don't care. It kind of feels like you don't want us to like or to play the game. You know, it feels like you want the game to die and just everybody move on to Honkai Star Rail. You know, because I don't know, because that would, I really don't know. What, would that be easier for you? Do you dislike Genshin Impact? I don't get it. And listen, I will cut you some slack here, because I know during the 4.2 live stream, you guys did say that you were making more replayable content, you know, and your developers are working on it. And you guys have added the Fontaine Heroes, which I will say is a very, very good change. We are very happy about that. And I hope you continue to make good changes like the quality of life stuff. You do need to revamp that artifact loadout that's coming. That kind of sucks, but look, Hoyoverse, listen, I've said a lot here. It does not have to be like this, okay? Listen, we don't need to have this animosity between us, the frustration between the rewards and the state of the game. Please just make the positive changes. Please just turn the game into what it is the players want to see, and you will get back. You will. And the very last thing I have for you, you got to get your developers on the same page, man. You cannot have this huge disparity between Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, which funnily enough, they're actually the same player base. You know, that's part of what makes this so frustrating, is the two different player bases are the same people, you know? And so just think about it, bro. You know, just think about it, and let's not do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Now, as far as the players go, essentially we have two options. Well, option A, which is one that we've already done, is you can respond to the developer over social media. So people have kind of done their part on that end. The second thing is that, listen, if it's gonna be like this, you have to cut back on how much money you spend. And listen, it is up to you on what you want to spend money on and how much money you want to spend on it. But this is something that works 1,000% of the time. It does. And I think we kind of have to wait to see how Hoyoverse responds to this. And even after this thing, I think this isn't over. I think there's going to be a lot of tension going into this 3rd anniversary. But if the developer's not going to give you the game that you want to have, and they're not going to treat you with the kind of respect you think you deserve, then you just can't keep spending money on them. You can't spend the same amount of money. And listen, I'm a part of this, right? I'm someone who's pulled every single character. Well, no, almost every single character. I forgot. There's a couple I've missed, but they're pretty much all of them. And honestly, I don't want it to be like this. I'm cool with the money. I want to get all the characters and have fun with it. And I don't know if I can, if it's going to be like this. And I think this is probably the only thing that will really force the developer to make change. The only other thing I can think of is, I know Genshin hasn't had a lot of competition. We had Tower of Fantasy, and that kind of flopped. But Wuthering Waves is coming out, I assume, at some point in the next year. I don't know that. There's no official release date. But if that game is up to par, you know, maybe you have to, you know, start spending all your time and money in one game and not in another. And listen, I don't want this to be the option. I would much rather the developer do the right thing and this be over with, and this be the last time that we do this. But in this reality, I don't know, man. You know, and like I said, I hope not, dude. I don't want it to be like this. I love Genshin. I just don't want to go through this shit anymore. I don't, you know. And so, all right, that's it.